Girl Talk is brought to you in part by M&M Eye Institute and by Prescott True Value Hardware.
The state of human beings says that we are always, if we're really on the ball, we're trying to improve. We're trying to figure out where we are and where we want to be. And I've got someone who's got a really great way for us to determine where we are and where we want to be. Angela's got Girl Talk. How do we create this life we want? Because again, we're always looking for something different.
Absolutely.
or to tweak it up.
Right.
You know?
I think that's a really good question. Here we are. Happy New Year. Right? We're in the second day of 2018. So this is a perfect time to kind of look forward and decide, what do we want to do this year? You know, it's the end of last year. We can reflect on the past. The past is gone. The future is in front of us, so all we have is today. So something I like to do for the new year is a vision board. I have my vision board that I did right here for 2018. And what I do when I do a vision board, basically, is I just go through magazines. And I don't look for something like, let's say I want to make more money. I don't necessarily look for a money sign. Okay. I just look for things when I go through magazines that actually just appeal to me. Okay. So here's mine for 2018. And basically it's, you know, it kind of taps into your subconscious, taps into what you're really desiring, what your soul is desiring. Maybe not what you're physically desiring, but what your soul really wants.
So you may not even know when you're putting it together exactly what you're going to come up with.
Absolutely. So here's mine for this year. I mean, we'll see what comes to fruition. But one of the things, you know, the rooster represents cooking. I love to cook, so that just appealed to me. It's also, you know, made of water, so I need to drink more water. I'm terrible about water.
Wow.
So I would like to incorporate more water into my life this year. I loved this woman right here that just kind of has some, you know, words coming out of her head. Hardships. It talks about what kind of happened in 2017, hurricanes, just different events that went on. And you know, that's important to me. Like, how can I help society in some way where some of these negative things are going on? What can I do in my life today, locally, to make a change?
That awareness and involvement.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. Because I think it's easy to become overwhelmed and frustrated when we hear of things going on, you know, worldwide. What can I do? What can I really do? How am I going to impact the world and help? But what we can do is act locally, act right now. Maybe it's just being kind to someone in front of us that you don't know that really helped them that day.
You have no idea what a difference it can make. Just a smile to someone, just to say hello.
Absolutely. I think it's so important to remember that. Other things, you know, I've always wanted to hike Mount Everest. So this talks about a guy. Here he is on his 5th try of getting to the top of Mount Everest. And that just reminds me, basically, he's 55, 5th try, here he goes again, he wants to get to the top. Something I want to do is, you know, climb Mount Everest. At the same time, it's don't give up.
Yes, keep going. You're not too old. Just keep working at it.
Yeah, so this was mine for this year. I have one from 2016 and then 2015 as well. So this was 2015 for me. And I look back on this, and like I said, when you put some images on a board, it's like, what does this mean? It's not, I don't even know. Here you know, green eyeshadow. What in the world does that mean, right? But just like eyes wide open, seeing color in the world, seeing things, mindfulness to me is really big. And I think this point in my life, mindfulness became, you know, really being mindful of what's right in front of me.
And do you look back and say, wow, that had more meaning than I realized?
Absolutely. You know, I had never been to India. So here's something, top suites of Indian cities. So I had never been to India. That year I happened to go to India. I didn't know at that point in my life that I was going to India. I did.
Do you think that when you put it on there, it actually brings it to your mind and you accomplish things you might not have accomplished?
I do. I mean, and if you've ever read the book The Secret, or one of my favorite American philosophers, also self-help guru, he's since passed, but Dr. Wayne Dyer. Amazing. The power of intention. Basically, you put it out there, you create it, and it comes back tenfold. People might say, okay, yeah, I want to win the lottery, right? Like, why can't we all win the lottery? I want a lot of money. But it's not necessarily that, right? It's about creativeness, love, kindness, just putting it out there into the world, and it comes back to you.
We don't understand how much our subconscious runs our life. So if we get that intention there, we don't, you know, things will happen.
Absolutely. And another author that I really love is Brene Brown. She's a qualitative researcher. She's also a professor. And she's just fascinating. She was kind of Oprah's life coach, if you will. And this book is wonderful. It's basically about just being you in the world, and you're okay, and you're good enough, and you don't have to conform to fit into what society tells you, or what your peers are doing, or what, you know, your community is doing, really. Being you is all you have to offer. You're here for a certain reason. There's only one of you, and so you
use those gifts you have.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so I think it's, you know, important to remember those things as well. And then I'll go back to my my other vision board that I did. I just loved this, you know, come as you are. I love this woman, she's elderly, and she just looks so interesting to me, right?
Someone you would definitely want to talk to.
Absolutely, how fun would she be? Finding home, you know, the crisis in Syria. I loved just this baby and how can I help children. When I was actually in France, and I looked on the street, this was a year ago, I looked on the street and there were several Syrian refugees, families, full families, mother, father, children on the streets begging, on the subway systems begging. And I thought, how can I help? What can I do?
So you pick these images that appeal to you, you put them together, and then you, like the eye with the shadow, the eyeshadow, then you see, well, what does that mean to me?
Right.
Why am I attracted to the image? And then you kind of set that
Exactly.
vision for what your vision would be.
Yeah, it almost sets, it subconsciously sets your intention for the year. Right?
Fascinating,
And obviously different things
yes. And then you
happen.
can look at that and you can see the meaning that is coming to be.
Absolutely.
I know in The Secret, this is one we had talked about, where the guy put a house, he wanted a certain kind of house, he put the house up there. He like 20 years later, or however long, he realizes, he comes to that old vision board, he bought he ended up, was living in that exact house, not a house like it.
I know.
That
I have
house.
heard so many stories like this.
The power
and
is
it's
phenomenal.
True. When I look back, it's like a couple years ago, and some of those things haven't come to fruition for me. But
Right.
it's like, you know, it's
an
life
ongoing
is long,
thing.
hopefully, right?
Yes.
Short but long. Hopefully there's several years.
But
in
at
front of
least
me.
you're staking a path, you're working on the
Yes.
things. Benjamin Franklin did that. He would take a word a day and change it and work on that, whether happiness, faith, friendship, whatever.
Right.
And then now you've got a lot of books here
Right.
too.
Just
Does
you
this
know,
help?
kind of just creating your life too. This is a travel journal. While you travel, just put some of the things in your travel journal.
Oh,
journal,
okay.
This is just planners. You know, you do have to plan your life. Just planners, daily planners. I know a lot of people use cell phones now and calendars.
Can
in their
do
cell
that
phones.
either way. Just
I
get a
love
plan.
paper. I
do
just
too.
love it. I mean, there's something about it that I just love.
So get those, use all this great resources to
Yeah.
help us tap that inner self
Yeah.
and make the best we can of ourselves in this
absolutely.
brand new year. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Angela
Sandy.
Scott. Great girl talk. I'm going to go make myself a vision board. I might show it to you. I'm not really sure. Exactly. All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.